Ricky. So welcome to the Wanted Design Store and Casa Finca. All of you are aware of that. Thank you, Sebastian, for letting us hang.
Yes.
No, so this is something that we did a lot last year at the gallery. And we want to continue this. We're really going to try to do this monthly if we can, if not every 2 to 3 months. So basically the idea is, I mean, my dad's done a lot of work, a lot of research. I mean, I don't have to introduce you, a lot of you people know, but this recent stuff is, I don't know, he's a sociologist, historian, cultural influencer, and really, really working with our generation. So this idea of what, if we want to call millennials, or whatever we want to say, seeing us from kind of a different view than what society's been seeing us, and kind of discussing a new narrative to frame what millennials are about, right? So kind of taking that. So what he's doing, he's coming, we have discussions, but he wants you guys to talk. I brought all you because you're my closest friends and also my thinkers, my activists, you know, all my people. You know, we're all activists. You look around, we're all activists, we're all artists, we're all thinkers, you know. And so really, he's gonna say stuff. We're like his BS monitor, for real. You know what I mean? Because he's gonna go back. He goes back and preaches this, but he needs to be on point. So we want to make sure that if he's saying something about our understanding, our culture, or the book, who's read The Alchemist? Has anyone read this book? Cool. So we're going to do a discussion on that. But yeah, so it really is a discussion. I don't know what you're going to do, but how's that? Good?
It's good.
You can say more things about yourself.
I mean, he will. He talks more than me.
I'm an allied champion of millennials. I have come to discover that almost everything said about them is wrong. And for a long time I was a little curious about how that could possibly be, since everybody has studied you so thoroughly, except almost no one has actually listened to you.
Yeah.
So
I want to know what age group is a millennial? What is that?
well, this is actually one of the problems, is that you actually can't use science to discover when one generational cohort starts and another one ends. That's why so much of what is said is actually BS. And they now want to slice and dice it and call it Xennials or Generation Y, and actually most of that stuff I think is not worth reading. It's for marketing purposes, but not really meaningful. But in recognizing that, I realized that there's actually a frame shift, a way of thinking differently about life and reality and relationships that is a big shift, and that your generation are the carriers mostly of that shift. And so that if you want to have any understanding of what is the big cultural shifts, your generation is the one you need to listen to and pay attention to. And those who think about life in this new exploratory way, largely off the map, defining reality in totally new ways, I call new Copernicans, which tend to be spiritually oriented millennials. To answer your question, roughly 1980 to 2000, born within that frame, although some people go back to 74 and some people go forward to 2004, and so there's actually about a 10-year slippage on that framework. But basically people who are in their 20s and 30s, roughly, are the carriers of this. Sometimes they say millennials are people who know how to order Prozac on their phone. or are people who were born analog and grew up digital.
Yeah.
I mean, so there are lots of ways of looking at it. I do. So I don't tend to pay a lot of attention to cohort research, which means a generation born at a particular period of time with certain shared life experiences tend to think all alike. Now, first of all, you look around to your friends and say, that's not actually true, because a lot of you think differently than a lot of the people in your age group. But there is, from at least a little further out, a different way of thinking about life in reality. For example, most of the people who I think are new Copernicans tend to not particularly warm to the idea of binary categories, of seeing everything in either or, black and white kind of categories. They're much more interested in both and. They're much more oriented to holding their convictions with an open hand rather than a closed fist. That is, they're open to learning from other people because they recognize that they've grown up with a great deal of diversity and all the rest. So I tend to think that millennials think differently, really differently from most people in my generation, and they tend to think better. So I think it is a colossal improvement. And of course, all the negative public press that you get is just a way of minimizing the benefit of seeing life in reality the way you see it. So it's actually a reinforcing negative narrative, which is not particularly helpful. So I've written a book called The New Copernicans. It comes out in the fall, and I try to unpack some of my findings in this regard. But largely, I'm interested in listening and learning from you because what you intuitively see about life in reality, I don't automatically. And so, but one of the problems that many in your generation have is that you intuit things so differently, but you don't actually have words or language by which to articulate the differences that you feel in your gut. So part of my job is to help give you words to describe the nature of reality as you see it, because the power of culture is the power to define reality. And if I can empower you in some way by giving you some language by which to describe your own experiences, that would be helpful. But really what's happened in the past is you've had 50-year-old academic sociologists asking 2D questions of a generation that thinks in 3D. So if you watch a 3D movie without your glasses on, you see something, but it's radically distorted. And that's basically all that's been spilled out as being scientifically accurate. It's basically a distorted understanding of your generation, and most of that can be thrown out, at least in my opinion. Now, when I first saw this, which was a couple years ago, I was very nervous about saying it because there's so many big PR firms, marketing firms, and survey firms that have spent so many millions of dollars studying millennials, and I thought, how can I be the only one who's seeing this differently? And so I kind of eased my way into it, but increasingly I've gotten lots of affirmation. I mean, I remember the first time I gave my paper to Alex and said, tell me what you think, and he sent me a text back and said, you're onto something. So I knew, I had a hunch that I was onto something, but I knew it needed a lot more homework and study, and now it's out as a book, or coming out as a book. And for me, this whole thing has been a real existential journey. I mean, I just...
Okay. I have to say one thing too.
Yep.
Like, so we're, as you know, we're Christians, but he's writing this also in a way to sort of like really talk to Christians. Like, you guys are going 100 miles in this way, and you should be going this way. So every one of us here have had deep spiritual conversations, and those conversations have led to this conversation. But so I just want to throw that out because it's like we're making change everywhere. So he's kind of writing this to be like, yo, Christians, you're losing, and we need to get on board. So I just wanted to throw that.
Yeah, I would say most of the conservative evangelical church is going to hit a significant cultural brick wall in about 10 years. So, I was telling a person who was here earlier, the people I don't trust the most are kids your age that have stayed within the evangelical church and are trying to bridge the two worlds, which I call hybrids. The hybrid new Copernicans.
Yeah.
They really don't get me at all.
And they all voted for Trump.
Yeah, and they're worse than their parents because their parents are like, that is so weird and so out there. But these hybrids are trying to play it a little safe. All their friends are like you, and yet they're not. You know. So I'm trying to redefine the whole conversation, and. It will be nice to actually have friends like you after my book comes out, because I expect that I will be slammed. I mean, I just expect it.
Got your back, Pops.
So the one reviewer who I know pretty well, I've known for years, actually wrote a review of my book. You have to send out to get blurbs, you know, for book jackets. So I sent out to this guy. So he wrote one, ironically, as if he was attacking me, you know, and it was quite funny. He said, this is a guy who actually wrote a book on parenting and expected his kids to be perfect, and yet his kids are now, what did he say? They're riding trains with immigrants. I mean, he went on, and hanging out with Maoists in New York, all of which I write about in my book. I write about this group in my book.
Yeah, like us.
I write
Last
about
sessions we had it together.
Yeah, and things I've learned from you, basically. Anyway, it was quite funny. He says, now, of course, we know that the world is flat and Copernicus was wrong, and we know it because the Bible told us to. And that's how he ended. So he was.
Which I beg to differ, because it actually says that it's wrong.
Well,
in Job.
Right. So anyway, in part we're here to celebrate Alex and Vanessa and this life change, and all of us are on this journey together, and to talk about pilgrimage and journey and pivotal moments. And this has been a pivotal time. I'll tell you, when Alex called me up to tell me about Vanessa, it was really one of the happiest days I've had in the last several months. I was so thrilled. I could barely sleep that night. I was so enthusiastic. And he said to me, I'll get on it in the next couple of weeks. And of course, it was the next day. I think he was right on it. It struck me in terms of life pilgrimages that this book has a lot to say. Now, I know that this book has been out for a long time, and that many of you read it at some point in your life. And if you haven't, then you're a little bit like me, because I only learned about it recently. And I knew right away that I needed to read it, because it's a book about, it's an allegorical book, mythic, and about a pilgrimage, about a guy seeking to find his dream. And And then I realized that it actually sold 65 million copies, been translated into 58 different languages, and I was probably the last person in the universe to actually have picked up and read the book. So I was like, well, Johnny come lately, welcome to the party. But then I realized that a book that sells 65 million copies all over the world is touching into something, into a universal story, to something that transcends time, transcends cultures, and what he's really dealing with is material that is actually mythic in its nature, and in that sense it's timeless. And because the book doesn't list in bullet points some of the things that it's trying to say, I thought I would just say, here are some of the things I took away from it. You could take away from it completely different things, but what he's saying are totally in keeping with the spirit of the new Copernican ethos, at least from my perspective. And so I think it's particularly rich. I think it's rich particularly at the juncture that Alex and Vanessa find themselves in. And so it's worth every now and then remembering things you've read before and some of the key points. One of his overarching themes is the soul of the world is actually on your side. Now, obviously you can talk about higher power, or you can call it God, or whatever you want to do, but he is more ambiguous, and in that sense allows for a spirituality on-ramp for all of us. But the thing that he's going to argue is that the soul of the world is actually on your side, and that you are a very special purpose, and that the soul of the world has actually designed a cosmic mission for you, if you're willing to seek it. And the key, the journey that we're all on, is to find really what is my place in this world, where are my gifts most meaningfully, and where can I find the greatest happiness, the greatest fulfillment, not only for myself, but for all the people around me. And so that catches every one of us, depending on your age. We're all on that same journey. And what he's going to argue is that you really need to pursue, he uses the term personal legend, which is really your calling or your mission in life, or your personal legend. You need to pursue it with everything you have, and you need to put your heart and soul into it. And many of you are actually doing it, and have been faithful to that.
I think,
in fact,
all of us in here.
In fact, I think that one of the things,
literally, like
if
physically,
you don't
mentally, and spiritually.
pursue it, that calling will die. So the fact that you moved to New York against your parents' best judgment, and, you know,
That's my cousin, y'all, by the way.
One of the things that I love about the book is that he tells us that the pilgrimage you set on, that you set your heart to, it will be the classroom. That the journey itself will teach you everything you need to learn. It's not going to be learned in a book. It's not going to be learned from somebody else. It's going to be from the lived experiences that you have. That will be your classroom to find what you need to make the next step on your pilgrimage toward your personal legend or your dream, which is exactly what you found. I mean, that's your story as you told it to me, was exactly the unpacking reality of this. And so he would say, just embrace your adventure. Don't play the victim. Embrace all of it as an adventure. Of course, the world's not fair. It's particularly not fair to millennials, since people my age have given you a world filled with crap and Trump. So
millennials and centennials, so it's like a whole other generation.
Yes.
Now behind millennials.
Yeah, Generation Y. I'm aware of it. So what is important, in my view, is to think about this shift in mindset and how you're going to pursue your own calling and mission in life within this new frame when certain things are going to be set against you. My aim in life is to be your advocate and to clear the rubbish out of the way as much as I can. And he's going to say, Apollo is going to say, the destination is the thing, the journey is the thing, not the destination. So just embrace the present, embrace the journey as you are, and on that journey, listen to your heart, he would argue, or your intuition. Listen to your gut, and to watch for omens that the soul of the world will bring to you. So the soul of the world is actually on your side. The soul of the world will actually bring omens that will aid you on your pilgrimage if you're open. First of all, if you're seeking it with all your heart, pay attention to the omens because they will show up. And they can be all different kinds of things. He has one word for relationships, and he basically says, no love relationship should get in the way of your search for a personal journey. And if it doesn't, for your personal legend, if a relationship gets in the way of your dream, it's not love. So that's one of the things I love about Alex and Vanessa is that every one of us know, because we know them, that there's alignment in their pilgrimage, that they're about the same kinds of things, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic about their relationship. They're realistic about it in that he says that, look, you're going to get tested. Bad things are going to come down, and particularly, he says, as you get closer to your dream, you're going to get, your resolve is going to be tested. And so, don't be surprised if tough things happen. Life is filled with hiccups. The movie The Big Sick is coming out, and you know that story. It's a rom-com, and they had a biracial or bicultural relationship. He's Pakistani and she's American, and they have particularly ununderstanding set of in-laws, and then she gets very, very sick, and it puts enormous strain on the relationship. So as you think about your own pilgrimage in the wedding, typical wedding vows, it's for better and worse, sickness and health, and we tend to skip right over those words, but actually we should kind of sit on them and meditate on them, because that's where life really is lived, in those valleys and difficulties. The other thing is that the thing that keeps us stuck mostly, and none of you are stuck, I don't think, is a fear of failure.
Plan B, Plan C.
Yeah, in other words, basically, setbacks are not failure, quitting is. So just don't quit. Perseverance is the thing. And then he concludes by basically saying, look, the soul of the world is actually all about love. And so as we level up in our pursuit, we'll end up actually having a circle that is embraced by aligning ourselves with the soul of the world, which actually is love. Now, you're all young enough where you're pursuing dreams, and at a place where relationships are in the mix, and trying to figure out what is my dream and where am I going and what is, I mean, this is the nature of life for actually all of us, but particularly for people at your age, and particularly at pivot points when you get married. So it's helpful to remember some of the mythic stories that are told about the nature of reality, because there's wisdom in aligning yourself with the nature of reality. Okay, now over to you.
There was something you mentioned about what the journey is and what the book goes into a lot that I disagree a little bit with.
Please.
And that is that our life is about being in this journey, and it is feeding into our experiences, and therefore we're reasoning to it and we're responding to it. But I think that it's so much more active than just being on a journey. It's about questioning every step of the journey. It's about making your decisions, because it's not ever just straight ahead. And I think that the moment that we get comfortable in a journey that we feel totally comfortable in, it might actually be our downfall and now our future.
Okay. Well, so let me rephrase that. To be on a pilgrimage is hard work and not simply going with the flow.
Or better, is there a difference between a journey and a pilgrimage? Is pilgrimage actually the word? Right? Like, I feel like the word pilgrimage is like you are traveling to a, right? Or no?
But then you feel like you have a destination, like you're already
maybe that's
in the vision. But
right.
life throws so much at you that you may have a vision, but that's going to switch. That's going to respond to your environment and to your place at the time and in that moment. But the important essence of it is that you don't give up.
Does your vision?
Does your core?
This is what actually me and Mike talk about with our kids, right? Because I got a guy who was on point, doing it, running it, got rearrested. Now he's in jail. And my thing is like your vision didn't change. You know what I mean? And your focus and your understanding, I mean, it can change it will change, but deep down, my man, that won't change.
Yeah.
But I like what you're saying too, because I think there is some of this when it's like, we're on our journey.
Yeah.
You know, and not that act, right? You're sort of reminding us that it's an active.
But I think it has to do more with survival, what you're talking about. It's just
not so much about survival as it is about the survival of your idea. The survival of what you're protecting.
It goes to what he said about it being tough though, like it getting hard and it really making you question yourself to see.
And it's not about questioning ourselves, it's about questioning the world that's getting in the way of what we're pursuing, which is our livelihood, which is our community, which is our family, which is our friendships. What is getting in the way of us pursuing that?
Face will be because of people my age and the world that people my age created that you're having to navigate and to transform. So a lot of your work is going to be, we don't need to do it that way anymore.
okay, I'm gonna add something to, but just personal experience. I think all those things that are thrown into you, I think it's just like life and the universe wants you to evolve, and it's throwing those things at you to see how focused you are in your mission, and if your mission is going to change because of that, and it's a test, but how true do you keep yourself to yourself, and it's beautiful.
How do you take on that test?
You don't know, like you don't know, but that's why I said survival, because we have that mechanic, like that's what humans do. We survive whatever it's thrown at us, and if you go through that hump, that's when you're like, oh, That's why that happened. Yeah, I get the lesson. And when you get to the end of your mission and what you really wanted your whole life, then you understand it all. It's you cannot understand it, like never.
And the other thing is that they always say that people your age are idealistic, and then they get older and they have kids and move to the suburbs and they lose their idealism. Well, I would think that one of the biggest threats to your pilgrimage, to your finding your personal legend, is making it.
The
And sure-
idea of making it?
Or
no,
make
if
it
you
in
make it.
general.
So there were several times in the story here that Santiago, who was a shepherd, he sold all the sheep and then he went to work in a crystal shop and he made a lot of money and he could have bought a whole other flock and moved back home. But that really was not his vision. His vision was to get to pyramids in Cairo and to find his treasure. And he was tempted. He actually thought about it. But then he saw other examples of people who were older who had taken the easy way, settled, did not fight for their vision, had settled and let their dream die. They were comfortable, but they knew in their heart of hearts they had not pursued their treasure. Yeah.
I think something that's been super integral for me personally is surrounding yourself with people who share that same.
Yep.
Because if you're not around people who are sharing that same vision,
Yeah.
it'll disintegrate. If you're if you're not strong in your value, like if you haven't figured out yet what that thing is or how you can establish it, you can very easily lose it. And so I think, obviously, once you get mentally strong and you're ready for it, you can do it. But another thing that can help you kind of continue through those different struggles and through the different obstacles is surrounding yourself with people who also know what your dream is, so they can get you back on track if you've kind of lost your way.
Now my
That's
question,
helpful.
sorry.
Yeah.
My question is, you're saying he wanted to give up, but he didn't because he knew what his true path was, and some other people did. Now, can we agree?
Well, he ran into Melchizedek, and he also ran into a king, and he ran into the alchemist who basically helped guide him. So I do think that your point is well taken. One of the most important decisions you can make in life is choose your friends, because they will either help you level up or level down. And I'm sure this is one of the messages you're giving to your kids, is that
Yeah, for sure.
if you want to pursue your goal, you need to have people around you
I also
that
think
help you
it
level
comes down
up.
to two things. It's accepting and understanding. So
Yeah.
accepting the fact that you're
Keep
indestructible
going.
and understanding the fact that you're here to create change.
Yeah.
I guess once you master those two things, then in a sense that you'll fulfill your purpose that you're supposed to do on this earth.
I'd like to just kind of question why we feel like we have the platform to pursue personal journeys. Who are we to think we deserve our personal journeys and not everyone else who we might have seen give up because different circumstances in life put them in that position when maybe they haven't. They are living out their life happy in the suburbs.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think.
And so I just feel like we also have to think about that our personal journeys are not our personal journeys. They're our life journeys. They are about our friends. They are about our partners. They are about our kids. When we and whoever we interact with, and we're going in one direction, that moment is coming with us. So why wouldn't we positively influence everyone else? Why do we have to be in a mindset that is about our personal, self-indulgent, narcissistic, personal journeys? Because that's what it sounds like.
One of the universal laws is balance, so I think we have to balance out doing us and thinking about we're all one too. So
see it, it's not a personal journey from my end. It's more of connecting to a body of people that have the same journey and a fulfilling journey. And I think a lot of people do that too subconsciously. Maybe some people could think that it's their personal journey, but they're also adding to a whole that think the same way.
I don't think some people are really aware of that.
Yeah, I think that.
I really don't. I feel like some people are just like, I'm in my personal bubble journey, and they're not looking around and seeing community and seeing.
But isn't it in a way like influencing the community to understand that that's not who we want to be?
That's what we are doing. No, but I think, I think for us, we can all say
in a place, but then there's also a lot of selfishness that continues on their journey, negatively impacting our journey.
I think that's a helpful corrective. In other words, basically we're saying, now there's probably some tension in this, because there's certain people you can hang out with that would not be allowing you to be your authentic self. But I do think that it
our
is
teens issue.
That's right.
100%.
That's why I think that to frame it as a we rather than a me is a helpful corrective. And I kind of view it as a troop, a group of people that are in transition on some kind of road together to go somewhere, like Canterbury. And if you know the story of Canterbury Tales, it was, they had a game. And so they're all walking the road together, and they basically each took turns to tell their story or to tell a story. And whoever won the best story at the end of the journey, everybody would chip in and buy a meal. That's the
first book
external
of
structure of Canterbury Tales. Now, some of the stories were very bawdy, others were very more spiritual, and actually that's just the way life is actually. And but there was respect for everybody's story, and everybody is mucking through the same muck and tired, and their feet are sore together. But it's a group going together. It's not some lone hiker like that woman who climbed Denali last week in 21 hours by herself, the fastest woman to ever climb Mount McKinley. 21 hours straight climbing at altitude by yourself.
In Alaska? The one in Alaska?
Yeah, is pretty out there. I mean, it's borderline suicidal, but she survived and set the world speed record by a couple hours.
Solo climb.
So, not like that.
Who was here read Canterbury Tales? Really? You didn't read Canterbury Tales? You bum. Canterbury Tales is like a classic, but it's crazy. You read it in high school, Nick?
Yeah, high school. I vaguely remember
Well, there are
it,
lots
but
of
having to read it.
lots of high school.
Usually we just read like 2 stories.
Right.
Because we weren't allowed. It was like half of it, like you said, it was like half was like super spiritual, really great. And
Yeah,
half was
but
like porn.
90% of them
That's
are
right, that's right.
Like super gnarly.
medieval porn.
Yeah, medieval. It's like the first medieval book written.
Medieval
It's
porn,
crazy. Canterbury Tales. Canterbury Tales. It's great.
Now, I'm a big fan of that overarching metaphor of telling our stories together in pilgrimage, going together in common search of finding meaning that's larger than ourselves. But I do think that there is a common thread in your friendship that I think you actually appreciate is a little unique.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Well, you're all passionate about social justice. You're all passionate, and you've all had, or many of you have had, life experiences that have underscored that point to make it not a theoretical matter, but a personal matter. And so you have kind of banded together because you're interested in helping each other out personally, as well as dealing with some kind of theoretical, cosmic, social justice issue. It's not really framed in policy matters. It's framed personally because I'm in effect sticking up for my friends who are being hassled by the cops. And you all have a shared sense that life is to be lived in search of some meaning larger than oneself. So there is a kind of idealism here that is actually framed for many of you in quasi-spiritual kind of ways. And also probably shared is a general irritation and or rejection of traditional religious forms that express that in ways that, from your vantage point, don't make a whit of sense. So there is, and then you basically live life together. And you have an artistic sensibility that cares about beauty. And beauty not just as a commercial product, but beauty as a window to transcendence. So it's not just beauty because it has a dollar sense connected to it, but beauty because of what beauty actually is in ways that are largely inexpressible and certainly not commodifiable. So to kind of, I don't know your name, but Ava, to answer your question, some of those things.
Oh, no, which one? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I thought she was talking to Ava.
So I think that, those are some of the things I sense out of this group. By the way, I apologize for these sunglasses, I'm blind. And my glasses got ruined.
You look good.
And so I have, if I want to see you, I have to put them on. Otherwise, I can just sort of see you. Yes? You going to say something?
Tom's going to say something. No. Yes, you are, Tom.
I'm glad
I will, but I wasn't, not at this moment.
Okay.
I feel like going back to that point of you saying that our weapon is to get to a point to be content. And I want to get to that point actually, only because it gets so exhausting. But then I know if I get to a point, I'm going to be bored. So it's like this battle with yourself of like, I want to get to that point, but I know I'm going to get bored. Even if I'm like staying at home for a whole day, I'm bored. So it's exhausting to be a millennial. That's what I'm trying to say. Like our generation is pretty exhausting, but beautiful at the same time.
This notion that you're lazy is stupid. I mean, basically.
Who said that? I know. I'm like,
You're trying to work 3 jobs to just to pay the rent.
I know.
It's ridiculous. So I mean, basically. Yeah, it is exhausting.
Yeah. So the
and it's one thing, I mean, survival, you used the word survival.
Yeah.
There is, and we were talking earlier, there's a certain energy that is derived from living in New York City. And there's also a certain cost, personally, of living in New York City. Because everything is harder. Everything takes more out of you. And yet, the benefits are you don't get the kind of energy, the creativity, and the kind of relationships that you can potentially build if you lived in Des Moines. Is it easier in Des Moines? Yes. Is it more comfortable? Yes. Are you more inclined or less inclined to pursue your dream? I think a lot of you are here because the energy that New York brings is energy that keeps you moving.
You know where there's
quartz? There's crystals? Really?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Okay,
They said
whatever, you know what I mean.
No, I know, but it's
How do I know
insane.
that? You can Google it and find like
No, but
where.
how do they know
Oh,
that?
how do they know that? I mean,
I've been
I don't know
drilling
if you
everywhere.
even seen
Yeah,
like the
but-
beaches, Long Island. It's all quartz. Like we are. This is what the.
We're going right now.
Yeah, do it. Like it's the
The
energy.
formation
that's
of the
Yeah,
earth
what
and
we
the
have.
plates below us. are mostly-
what. Yeah.
So that there's
Yeah.
a kind
That's
of
why we're
cosmic,
always like.
there's a cosmic energy that
Yes.
Manhattan is sitting on the epicenter of something that is in touch with the soul of the world in a special way,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I certainly agree.
So
with
that's
that.
what it is.
And have you met so many,
Now I get it.
have you met so many people in the world that are so fascinated by crystals besides New York? Like New York, it's so fascinating.
It's very
by
true.
crystals.
That's true.
It's
It's
crazy.
very true.
I think it got pretty unhealthy.
Huh?
I think it got pretty unhealthy.
Yeah, it's like people are so. I mean, it's
Well,
yeah. If you go
to answer
overboard.
one of your questions, like one of the things that I feel that makes our generation so effective is our ability to
That's like one of
teach
those
and learn from each other, and like
It's
methods that have never probably been taught from prior generations.
I think so.
And I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
to build off that, we're using
What
old
were we
and
learning from?
old and new technologies.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we have our digital medias, but these moments, this is like old school
Yeah.
book club learning and teaching, but we're doing this and we're digitalizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're just exponentially teaching
But then
and
there's
learning.
but then there's a generational gap where there are no elders teaching us.
Yeah.
I mean, but we are like the 30-year-olds are the elders for the 20-year-olds. There's nothing wrong. I feel like that's
But-
probably what makes us
But
faster.
we need to make it,
But
I agree, we do need to reach out
Right.
to older generations.
No,
beyond
I
that.
see. My only concern is that power structure
Power of what?
in terms of money, basically, or infrastructure,
Well, that's one, but you also
or
have
whatever it may be,
meds
right?
in your homes with seniors.
No,
Like, this
we're-
society does not respect.
That's true.
elders.
I more mean like the.
But then
It's like
takes
every.
down-
I still feel like I'm like asking. I mean, now me and Vanessa are we're pushing it to an extent, you know.
Yeah.
But it's always the same thing. It's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, all right, I'll start my own gallery because I'm tired of having to convince older people that we've defined culture and then convincing them that we're the ones that define culture.
This is true.
You know, and it's
Expanding
like,
yourself
It
is
doesn't
what
give
it
it-
hinders
not,
us.
and it's a little
Not all
selfish,
elders,
but
not all elders are to be dismissed. There's elders that have
Oh,
actually
of
shown so
course.
much honor,
Of
and they
course.
were the gems of their generation, like in the 40s.
I'm more mean
Exactly.
talking about like just how the structural framework.
I think
You
one
know,
of
just
the
like me and Vanessa getting our license to do this, it was generational. It was a woman of color versus other women of color. Like
Yeah.
the layers just to come up as a young person, they don't what? You better be a millionaire already. You want to start?
And they tell you on your face. They're like,
Oh, they were like, yeah, don't bother.
and I,
don't like. Why do you want to be a small business?
and I feel
Like, you're not
that
allowed
as
to,
a
like,
20-year-old, that's
curse
probably
on
the
you.
advantage that we have.
They totally
Is
tell
learning
you.
from a 30-year-old to like,
Oh, they want to break you. Sorry.
like for instance, like Alex, Guillermo, and Buddha have taught me so much without trying to teach me. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't try to teach me anything. They just have understanding in the whole, and from that I learned, which is unconventional because I don't want to hear anything that a 40 or 50-year-old has to say because they're trying to teach me something. Like my mind automatically like blocks them out. Like, even
Yeah.
if they're trying to tell me something good, I'm just programmed. Like no, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
Well,
the
that's
teacher's
why
voice.
I've
That's
been-
like our kids, and they're like, "Yo, don't bring the teacher voice."
Yeah, just
I'm like,
don't.
you know?
I just don't want to hear it. You just
Yeah.
you spend your whole life with your parents or your family, and you're like they're never gonna get it, and then you learn a way to protect yourself from not picking up anything from the past generation that's around you, because you have this goal to change the world in a sense. Like you're built for change. You have to change. You walk in the street, you walk into a store, you just change. Whether you conversate with the store owner or the clients there, your whole embody just it misses change in a sense, you know.
So I think Polo would say that the pilgrimage will bring, the World Soul will bring people to you on your pilgrimage that you need along the way. And they'll be older and younger and et cetera. Your point stands though. Your generation has an open hand. That is, they have convictions, but they don't have the convictions that they're the only ones that are right, and that they can't learn something from someone else, and that they might be wrong, and they might need to change their convictions tomorrow. But that doesn't mean that I don't have convictions today, but it means that I hold my convictions as a gift with an open hand, not a closed fist. And the problem with the many in the older generation is they hold their convictions with closed fist, with the sense that I have a corner on the truth, I have nothing that I could possibly learn from you, and I have it, and you're totally wrong, and I will use my fist to show you how wrong you are. And that is something your generation doesn't have, and it's a problem. So a friend of mine used the picture of a butterfly. The convictions we have is a butterfly sitting on our hand. So that our convictions are actually living, a dynamic something or other, and a gift. So what happens to a butterfly if you do this? You kill the convictions, you actually change what it is, right? And so your generation has this beautiful ability to have deeply held convictions, but to hold them with an open hand. And because you have grown up around so much diversity, you recognize that there's no place in my life where there isn't somebody in the room who totally disagrees with me. And so that I can learn from that diversity, and you know how to negotiate it with respect. And part of that respect is holding your own convictions with a certain kind of attitude that is more gracious. And that is something I'm arguing heavily. That shift is the big shift that many in the church community have a hard time grasping. Because they hear open hand, they think, oh my word, we're talking about relativism. We're talking about having no morals at all. We're talking about, nihilism, and that's actually not true at all. As one philosopher said, certainty is a psychological state, but it has nothing to do with knowledge. And that's a psychological state is basically arrogance is what it is.
Exactly.
But it doesn't have anything to do with knowledge per se.
Certainty is a psychological state that has nothing to do with knowledge. So just because you're certain of something doesn't mean you have the knowledge to back it up. You're just certain. Good for you.
Yeah.
Hooray, you're certain. I love that I touch you every time I make a point. You know what I mean? Oh, you're certain. Great. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have all
it takes
the
work.
knowledge, the books.
So the question is, how can I have convictions that I'm willing to die for that I hold with an open hand? Right?
You don't even need all the... You know what I mean?
I feel, touching on what you said about in 10 years there's going to be that crisis in the rigid belief systems.
Right.
And I think that touches on that because they can't explain the essence of belief. Without this new wave of knowledge, of technology, just exposing all of these like science, because the biblical science of faith. It's not that you're because I've seen it. It's like, no, because I believe in a maker because my path and journey has led me to understand the maker in myself.
Right.
And unlike those hybrids, and unlike the rigid, I have a lot of family that way. Like, close family too. That's like, oh God, like, there he goes again. And it's like, okay, I grew up with that. So it's cool. I'm like that wild guy with the crazy views. But it's because they can't explain true faith.
Sure.
There will always be that wall where it's like, well, you just have to believe. And it's like, no, you can believe if you're patient enough and harvest it. And those existential axioms are becoming harder and harder across and to really demystify. And they're falling into that trap, especially with the youth, because we like I said, we all agree, like we'll dismiss somebody like this. And then there goes the message. And in regards to this, you know, like to that philosophy of let your journey define you, I think that is why we have reached to a point that we have many emotionally, like letting the jungle educate you will lead you, by the time you're 90, you're gonna be like disfigured. Like I've made mistakes in my life that it's like putting my hand in the blender, you know, and it's like, whoa, I won't do. And it's like I don't want to learn like that. I don't want to have like these emotional scars with me that I like you can almost see. You know what I mean? It's like
for real.
So there's like where's the thing of like where do the uninformed get the right to navigate such a ship? Out of necessity and out of what? So like I think those are the things that are like we're like shifting our understanding of what we've been discussing towards. What do you guys think?
Well, the thing to recognize is that what we are interested in is being aligned to reality. And then knowledge is a statement about the nature of reality. What I'm arguing is that your generation tends to have a more accurate understanding of human nature and reality. And that's why you learn best by experience, because you are letting reality teach you. Is it the most expensive teacher? Yes. And does it leave you disfigured and scarred? Yes. But does it teach you wisdom quickly? Yes. But what is different about that? What is different about that?
Come on. Here's a different element. Here's a twist to this. Our culture of self-medication, which is now 50 years from when the hippies. We're like the 5th generation druggies. You understand? And it's like that element of reality educating, now it represents itself of people grew up, now they're living their own reality because they picked and choose so much education and knowledge. They pick and choose what they want to learn about. Now they're living in their own reality. Their beliefs is what goes. If you disagree, that's what goes. But then also they can't remember those life lessons because they're medicated. So they wake up and yesterday's 15 lessons, like your hand in the blender 15 times yesterday, you woke up and you're like, oh, physically hurt? Nobody's talking to you and you don't remember what you did, so you can't even learn from them. So those are the new from my students.
Speed bumps are, I mean, one of the ways to step off the path of the pilgrimage is to self-medicate. Because you're basically no longer open to learning from the nature of the journey, no longer letting reality teach you.
I feel like it's no difference.
When
they offered money to us like centuries ago to take us off our path. Like now it's just in the form of drugs.
I think it's like
there's always going to be something to be like go this way instead of that way.
Colonialism. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but that's what I mean. Capitalism has to do with that as well. Like your generation created that for our generation because they realized, oh shit, like this generation is too enlightened and it's too like they know what they're doing. And so what do? They make sure that they start drugging you and they start cutting you off your path. And this is what I've been telling Alex, and that's the reason why I don't like him to drink a lot. Alcohol and any drugs will slow you down to where your path should go. Like it was created by humans. They know what they're doing. They don't want us to be enlightened because they know how powerful we
That's
can
what I'm
be.
saying. But before alcohol, it was money. It was currency.
Yeah, it's always been
it's
something.
always going to be something.
And
to
because
stop
we
us from
we adapt to it, and then we overcome it, and then they create something else. And alcohol is one of those things. Drugs is one of those things. And I don't know if you notice, like people drink more and more and more nowadays than maybe they used to before. Drugs, like you said, but it's just like to stop you from your path because the path is so powerful. To get rid of capitalism and colonialism and all these things that are bonding us to this group. That's really what it is. We're the farm, and they are the farmers. They're like, I'll make you go in circles because I know how to do it.
And I also feel like the generation, we choose to be bounded in a sense. Like we choose to combat and fight things that we don't understand the power that we have to create and change, and we throw ourselves into things. It's like having my great grandmother, like my family, like you have to do this, you have to do that. That's old generation. She has a lot of thoughts. I'm just understanding. I make her bed for her, like sleep there. I'm understanding and I'm receptive to the fact that I'm different and I'm changing things. I don't have to sit there and start to argue with her ideologies that she's encrypted into her mind.
Exactly.
I just love her. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna get into this with you.
That's
I
right.
love you.
And
I'm gonna
those
make
are
her
the
bed
times.
for her. I'm gonna put her water out for her. And that's fine because there's no need for me looking back. Like they did what they had to do to make sure that we got what we got now. And we have freedom of thinking. Like people in the Middle East don't think like we think now in this country. And that people have a lot of things to say about capitalism, but that's one of the reasons. Like this capitalist society allowed us to have freedom. They didn't expect this freedom. They didn't expect us to have this freedom. But without that, how will we have this freedom? You know, that we'll be thinking about a bunch of different things that will make this as advanced as we are now. You know, so it's more like taking the understanding that we have this ability, we have this blessing, and we have to create the change. Not so much like looking at everything that's trying to pull us back. Like, because things pull us back, but we allow them to pull us back. We don't like.
I also feel like we frame our, in terms of the movement, or we frame our mission based on the failures of the past. Which is good to understand that. But we're also at a point where it's like, wait a minute, we know exactly what we need to do without even bringing up all that negativity. And I think that's what's important, even with us right now, that we're like fully moving both with our businesses and continuing our lives into this like movement towards gentrification, right? Understanding gentrification. And on one level, boom, me, white kid moving to the hood, great, right? But we, the diverse group here, understand it further than that. And if we engaged gentrification as neocolonialism and only sat in that, we wouldn't move forward. Right?
I feel like
We're gonna make our
it's
choices.
not so much trying to change it. Like,
but I think, but yeah, it's not exactly. No, it's trying to like
past tribe and the only tribe that survived were the ones that were able to adapt. Meaning when the plane in their tribe ended, they were being able to move as a tribe to another plane and continue to move. Whichever tribe was like, no, I'm gonna stand my ground here. This is my land. This is my thing. They got wiped out. Whether it be 100 years from then or not, eventually they got wiped out. The ones that continue to move were the ones that we see today.
And I think that
flexibility.
That's what I also just thought too about, like, and you know, there was a lady here the other day, you know, like super rich, really great, but like, oh, she invested in our youth. And I was sitting here with, I was like, so funny, but if I just was like, oh, this white lady doesn't, what do you know? What are we doing?
Exactly.
She literally said, hey, I got money, let's do something. Oh, you got a garden? Buddha's got a garden?
You might as well be 50 years old if you don't accept people for who they are right now.
But that's super important for us to be like, and that's difficult, right? Because when we go against it, we are going against a system that is oppressive and is built to destroy us, right? You feel it harder because of your skin. You feel it harder because of you're a woman and your skin. You know what I mean? But if we're all conscious, we also realize we can use everybody in this. And that's what I'm trying, that's what's so important to me.
Well,
like,
sometimes
I'm not gonna sit out here and be like, oh, I get searched by the cop every day. Like Mike Henney or Buddha, right? But I'm also aware of like, I know Mike Henney, I know Buddha, I know what we need to do to manifest that new use me. And I'll use you. You know what I mean? Rather than being like,
and likewise, you guys got a business, you know? It's like, if you have your mind that's open, because at the end of the day, our generation has been given so much knowledge openly that we didn't even ask for. We have to utilize this with our understanding. Like, you guys have a business. What if I want to start a business? Who would I go to ask the questions to do it? You know, like, you're not, so like, you're not gonna like.
Jump on that note. We ask everyone that owns a business.
Oh yeah. How about
only one person.
Guess who?
Email me the douche. My best friend, which is like a total douchey, like.
Oh, don't say that.
No, but I love him to death because he pulls out. He's always there for me. But no. No, really, like it takes real
trust,
Look.
real friendship, real build-up.
The two people who helped us, right?
But why?
A Dominican.
But why?
But if
A
you're
Dominican.
Why are we so selfish?
And Greg from Bazaar.
Yeah.
We're
Yo,
horrible. That is
Greg from
horrible. And this is
Bazaar.
people that I really, really know.
But
Bro,
that's not necessarily
I
even
text
where you
him
start
once,
a
he-
business with all levels.
And it's-
Even like me starting my brand, I would ask somebody who has their brand, oh, can you give me some advice? And they're like, nah.
No. No one wants to give you advice.
Because nobody helped them. Because
Yeah.
nobody helped them.
But
So
why do we have to carry? And it goes back to the scars
we
and like
don't-
all these
we
things.
don't have.
We need to fucking. I'm sorry to curse,
I mean,
John,
look.
but like get rid. I do the
But
same thing. Get rid of it. Like get rid of it. Like
technically,
stop
we don't
thinking
carry
about
it,
the
though.
scars and like, oh my god. I'm always complaining about the scars too, but you know what?
Yeah,
it's
it's
doing
enough.
like bringing me back.
How about you
It's
complain
like
about
stopping
the
me.
band-aids?
Yeah,
and
that scar, that
How
focus
about
on the
you-
scar is what capitalism
Yeah,
does.
how about you
It's
like
opening.
be grateful of the band-aids because there's people other on this earth right now from my same generation that have scars that aren't they can't have band-aids on them.
They can't.
They can't even think about they don't know what
No.
band-aid is.
There's
They're
no
like,
time.
what?
There's
You guys
no
are
time.
thinking?
Yeah.
You guys are thinking, you guys are expressing yourself, you're starting your own business. Like there's people that are our age that can't even do they can't even think like this. They're like, where are we gonna be at tomorrow? Where are we gonna live at? Where are we hiding at? You know what I'm saying? Like right now. So we have to like appreciate that we have
Yeah.
band-aids.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's justifying the fact that we have wounds, but we have band-aids.
But also
Yeah,
the
we have
beauty
the fact
of
that
like the
band-aids.
growth that happened from that
That'll
moment.
preach.
Yeah,
I
like
gotta take some notes.
Come on, Dad. Get it? Yeah.
No, but
You should have the pen out,
beauty
bro.
of having those wounds and like understanding what they taught you, I think it's super important.
Like-
And it's okay to go back to them and say like, "Fuck, that happened to me," and like this and that. But also understand.
Passing that on as knowledge.
Yes, as knowledge and experience and like and beauty. It's beautiful. Like all this, I can write like 3 novels with my life. But the beauty of it, it's like I have what I always dreamed of, and you know what? I'm gonna have to work for it like crazy because
Yeah.
everyone has to. But at least I know that if I put my mind into it, I can do whatever I want because God and the universe or whatever we want to call it has given me the power to do it. And it has given me the power to have those scars, so I understand also struggle, and I can empathize with other people and help the person that is gonna come to me and say like, "What do I need to do to open up a juice bar?" Actually, let me tell you,
Just break it down real
it's
quick.
so hard.
It's whack.
And so I think all those experiences are beautiful. Instead of taking them, you know, like as like, why did that happen to me? That I did that, and I do it sometimes, especially when I'm like not having a good time. But then coming back to saying like, okay, you know what? I'm super strong. I'm the strongest woman I ever been. It's so beautiful. It's like it keeps me moving. It keeps me moving every day. And like to prove people wrong too. It's like it's the best thing. It's like, oh, you didn't think I could do it? Well, let me show you. And just
Watch
share
me.
Yeah, watch me.
That's another good thing about our generation. We're
Yeah.
the watching. It's like, oh, word? Watch.
Oh, really? You think I can? Okay.
Well, that's also like so much about sharing stories, personal journeys, and valuable information where we can not only do it digitally, but we can do it as an interaction. That we know that we have circles of friends and people, and it's hard to build on it, but you need to. And acknowledging at that moment that it's again, like that's the personal journey. It's not just about you. Your growth is my growth.
yeah.
And just stop being so selfish.
Every single time.
Just like holding on to something that doesn't even belong to you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not yours. Like, get rid of it. And I think one of the beautiful things or one thing that I have learned is to be more open about my feelings, because my feelings or my journey can help another person.
And not
journey.
dumping your feelings on people either. Like,
Exactly.
being open about your feelings, but keeping it
That's
to
why I
yourself
have
in a
Alex.
sense.
That was-
Yeah, it's just like you can be open about feelings, but you don't have to dump them on anybody. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if somebody listens, somebody doesn't listen. The fact that you have to be grateful for yourself for expressing your feelings yourself. I can express my feelings right now. Nobody can listen in this room. But I'll be grateful in the fact that I'm open enough to express my feelings.
Exactly.
That's a personal victory.
Yeah.
And whoever takes it and tells me anything about, yo, Mike, your feelings, you should do this, I take it as a gift. Thanks for telling me. Thank
Also,
you. Like, that's it. Like, you don't have to tell me anything about my feelings, about my feelings. But the fact that you took a minute, an hour, a day, energy to tell me anything about me, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it's the mentality that you have to, like,
Well, tell me.
I think that openness with our ideas too is just more effective now. It's like a better way of operating, even with like let's say computer programmers, they make things open software now. So the idea isn't like, oh, I got this idea, don't let anyone find out about this idea, I'm gonna go patent it, whatever.
Yeah.
They make it and they just go, everyone can have it,
Yeah.
we're gonna share it, and then the person, because they create it and they're in the center of it, they actually still benefit greatly from it. So we're better off now in operating that
It's not being
way,
afraid,
of
like,
sharing things
these
with everybody and
somebody's
going,
gonna steal it, somebody's
Your
not.
generation.
no, you go,
Our
let
generation
it,
is
let, you want to steal
I hope they
it?
steal it.
Yeah,
'cause
steal
it's
it,
printed
steal
on the
it.
agenda.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still
I
already
hope
wants to
everybody
that
steals
anyway,
my
so-
idea because it's gonna change the
It-
world.
it is hard,
So
though.
I hope everybody takes it. Take
It's
it.
super
Take
hard.
it.
It's
I'll get
super
more
hard to
ideas.
make
You
that
know,
work.
like.
I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
there is always a chance that you'll
Yeah.
get just ripped off and
Yeah.
stolen from and no
It's
one will
super
share
hard.
back. But there's a greater chance, it's like a gamble it's willing to take, there's a greater chance that someone's going to go, oh, that's great, let me stand behind you, I'll invest in you, or something like that.
I'd like to give the internet a little credit for creating that kind of sense of worldly knowledge. And you know, I remember again kind of going back to growing up analog and transitioning into a digital age where it was like you never trust the internet, you never trust Wikipedia, and now I'm a huge champion of Wikipedia, but you know, you don't create, you don't put your real name out there. Like I remember all this dogma that was being taught in school. You stay away and off the internet, or you only use it with very particular ways and tools and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, we do have this platform where we can share everything and we can learn so much. And I think we've reached a peak and a moment where digital modes are becoming marketed and ineffective. And now we're returning to using both platforms in this in real life and also as and also digitally, but very strategically. I mean, you look at very simple the social media tools that we've been using. 1 year to the next, boom, you've got commercials, you've got marketing,
Which
you've
is
got
like TV.
paid
It's
ads.
like when TV
It's
first
just
came
like
to
anything
humans.
else.
It's just
It
like,
was
we
going to
just
get
don't notice it.
marketed. So we have to be really conscious of that and always return to these circles.
Yeah.
Always return to the heart.
Yeah, and but that's tricky too in terms of, and what you were saying before about like there's a whole generation underneath us, and how are we, you know, communicating or translating to them or building bridges. Something me and Tom talked about a lot is like you used to have to like cite everything you said. Like any word you wrote down, you better have a reference from a book.
Well, it's
4 or
fake
5.
news.
So you know what I mean? Even this is the joke too. Remember, like the Inquirer used to be fake news. Like Alien Boy, Bat Boy, that used to be our fake news.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? But it's very interesting. We were almost talking about like that in terms of the election, where you like you don't have to check your references anymore. That's not something, right? Like that's not even something like, bro, that's not true. All right. Even now you're like, okay, let me Google it to see. But there's still not this idea of like the things you say have backing. He's probably got 5 references. I'm not even going to question that. Now you just say it, which is sort of what he was saying about certainty. You just say it, and people are like, cool. And now we know, and I use this all day. Just put it in the public sphere, and it'll manifest a certain truth, right? A certain truth. And that's something that we're really, really dealing with. Now we have elections where your man is lying daily, even still to this day. And I'm not even mad about the whatever. But we have literally something where they're like, I mean, the fact check, the alternative facts thing, but that, you know, they put a word to it. That's been the reality for a good 10 years now. Where we were just sort of like, yeah, well, but he's okay.
Democrats.
But when we were in, Democrats are the worst too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Same
What you're
game.
saying,
Like,
that's
oh
Democrats
yeah,
are doing.
well, Obama. It's like, no,
that's what Democrats
Obama
are doing.
deported more people than any other human on earth. People still fight me on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So this is what Democrats been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
This is why you have Detroit, you have all these buddy sites
I think
down
the root of that problem lies because before, and this is one of the new viruses our generation is facing. Before, the bibliography, like the process to get something published, there was certain procedures and buffers. So like with you quoting something, you know, but nowadays, a group can have an agenda and then they can do data dumps to be up in a mass. and be like, well, fact check me right now, and then like you're fact checking them, and they're coming up because guess what? There's that data dump because anyone can just dump data into the machine where we get data from. So there's like, where do we find legitimate wells of not Wikipedia, but it's like I can't fact check everything on Wikipedia because like they don't.
That's where we need to think about our consciousness. Because tools like this, that's great. Because before the internet, there was no way that you could learn about the history of any other country besides the United States.
Or what's going on currently
or
in other
besides
countries.
What's happening in the rest of the world. That's why there are systems of checks here and checking over here and fact checks. But it's important that we have this pool of knowledge. It's important that we have the power to make those new textbooks, to write those new histories.
And one of the only fears is that we don't appreciate what we have right now. So like when the Romans didn't really know that they were the greatest, the civilization in Rome didn't know they were the greatest civilization on earth, which will cause them to falter. Is that we don't know how to really be like, we have all this to our advantage right now. How can we utilize it? We're more like in a sense, it's very provocative, like we're just bitchy kids at home, where our mom and our dad gives us our plate of food, gives us a big house to live in, and we're finding everything to complain about. The crack on the floor, the door is slamming too hard. The weather's not good enough in here.
Dishes
like,
in the sink.
We're just finding everything. We're finding everything to complain about, except of like if we switch it up and bring people from the other side of the world that don't experience this, they'll come into this house and be like, we lit. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take advantage of this house that we live in, but we're like bratty kids in a sense. And
I think you're describing learned behavior.
I mean,
that's what we learn. That's how we learn to manifest that.
American, yeah.
Well, I think
we're American in this sense, like
gringos.
So how do we like recultivate consciousness?
Like, I'm Dominican, like third generation. There's a bunch of my generation also here that doesn't appreciate this shit. Like our parents appreciate it. Like immigrants just come to this country. They didn't care about the politics. They were like, listen, I'm not living here no more. I'm coming here to live. At least I can get a house. At least I can start a business. And the fact that somebody else got the same business can't come over here and burn my shit down and be justified. You know what I'm saying? At least I'm protected here.
In your country, like, you said Dominican. You make a rap video, and you take shots at the president, they'll kill you.
And this is the luxury we have here.
And you don't even have to be at Jay-Z level. You don't even have to be
it.
That's
what I'm saying. We have luxury here, so we're not utilizing the luxury we have here to do shit. We're not utilizing it at all. Like no generation in this country, like nobody that's came here and immigrated in this country is utilizing what they could have.
Because the people have been sabotaged.
Not even me or whatever the case may be.
Like because you're so repressed in this country.
In a
they
sense,
tell you you're not good, and like they keep reminding you.
In a sense, it's our past generations, because our past generations came here with this mentality, knowing that they don't want to get kicked out. So in their mind, they're not good enough. They're just like, I'm gonna stay under the radar and not bother anybody and be able to live here and work without getting kicked the fuck out, in a sense.
But it also goes back to immigration issues, and I think part of why there's no immigration reforms is because it's easier to keep you in that mindset that you're not good enough and that you cannot do the things that other people can do because they know that you have more capacity than any other person.
But in a sense, also, it can be argued that this country needs that limitation in a sense, because you don't want somebody to come here wanting to take over, in a sense. You don't want.
Why not?
I mean, take over in one sense.
It's a mental limitation.
I mean, but you have multiple. For civilization has done this.
Who are the smartest kids
but
in the
if you're a whack leader, you gotta get taken over.
The third generation.
Chinese, like
the third generation, I feel like we're the smartest because we're the most privileged. The fact that other people, other races,
are the smartest.
Americans.
Yeah, I know the immigrants are the Americans are all immigrants to me. Like I don't even feel like there's any like.
No,
I guess there's if you consider white people
like
Americans.
Yeah, I mean like.
It's like Pakistani dudes,
like
Chinese dudes.
One voyage. She means like the voyage, the person that hopped in a vessel and arrived at the new land.
Yeah, that means us.
And learned the new land's laws, and then learned the byways.
But not only that, like our parents learned these laws, so we inherited these laws. But our parents learned these laws and restrictions. They have restrictions in the way of learning. And that's because of what happened in our countries. It's not specifically because of this country's fault.
No, I think it's this country's fault.
I think it's because of what the limitations that you had in other countries where you couldn't speak out against your president and get killed. The limitations that
there was many revolutions in other countries.
Where?
I think
Where
if anything-
where you didn't get killed for starting it?
Yourself.
In Latin American history.
No, I'm saying there has been.
Yeah, but that only
Where?
happened when
Tell
they
me.
when they
Tell
left
me
to a
the-
different part of the land and they congregated and built people for 10 years and they birthed kids to be like a part of that. Like one person right now, I can't say fuck Donald Trump in another country back then without getting my head cut off ASAP.
Well, yeah.
Back then they had to run, they had to hide in the jungle with some shit. Like they had to go to another part of the country and be like, we don't like this leader. Let's build a 5 to 10, 20
No, I
year plan.
think you did
Take
have
it
to
down.
follow some rules, but I don't think the reason why our parents came here was to get away from those rules.
To be free, but I'm saying they still brought in some
for
restrictions.
sure,
from the last-
but I think some restrictions from there and restrictions from this country, which it goes back to immigration. It's huge, and you come as an immigrant child. You come to this country just hoping that you can go to school and that's it, and then get a job as a waitress,
Yeah, but
or
I'm saying
not because you don't think you can do anything else. It's because they tell you.
But
Just
what I'm
hoping
saying,
to
without
meet
the
your
restrictions
needs.
in this country is how do you contain the fact that there's other countries out for domination? Like humanity in every other country has always been out for domination.
Yeah, for sure.
They always been out
Every
to like
country.
like
Every
I'm
country.
gonna go into this land. We're gonna dominate this land.
But that's
Yeah.
why that's
Every
where our
country.
generation comes
There's
from.
that.
I got you though. I got you
so
though.
without this country
I got
putting
you.
some like,
I got
some
you.
like, I'm not agreeing with the borderlines that are placed here either. I'm
Yeah.
just saying like without the borderline that this country has placed to not allow any other country to come in here and be like, I'm running this shit in a sense. Because that's what's been humanity's goals forever.
Yeah.
The Chinese did it, the Indians did it. Keep
Everyone
going, like
has some tribal-
everyone goes place to conquer it. Like that's gonna be our bloodline there. Our people are gonna be here. How will this country ever be allowed a playing field like we have to allow every country to be neutral without that? You know, that's what I'm asking. It's like I don't think it would be possible in a sense because you take out all the alphas in a sense. You take out the warriors and like the conquerors of each country, and you don't allow them to come in because you're like you can't come here. We spot you out ASAP. Now we're letting the workers, we're letting the people
ones
from the
that are
villages.
comfortable.
Yeah, we're letting your
Yeah.
villagers that don't have these ideologies to take over, to conquer land, or to conquer man,
Still
to
though,
come here.
But that's Seven Samurai. You remember Seven Samurai?
No.
Seven Samurai, it's like these poor farmers and the thieves from the north are coming to ram it so they get the Seven Samurais. You're gonna save us. At the end of the day, the farmers needed 7 warriors to defend their land.
And in this country, you
At
gotta
the,
defend your
at the
land.
end of the film,
In this country-
all the 7 samurai died.
But I'm saying in this country,
And
you
they
gotta
too.
defend your land though. There's
Wait,
laws.
wait, that's different.
No, I'm
That's
not
different.
arguing that. There's
No,
laws.
There's
You gotta
different.
defend your land.
There's
Still
different.
getting
There's
others.
different parameters in a way though too. The application of that. Okay, because you're mentioning something valid, and it's the history of
I'm not agreeing with it. It's just the
geopolitics.
theory that I've
No,
made in
it's
my
the
mind
history of
for the last few
geopolitics
years.
and how borders get developed and laws get passed, and it's valid. Now, this is the thing. We as a generation cannot allow ourselves to continue that mentality of we're choosing the like, all right, we know this bully, but because I don't want no Russian bully, and I really don't want no Russian bully because I met Russian bullies, man. Russian bullies are crazy. You know
We
what I
have
mean?
no, we have,
Yo, I've met Russian
right.
bullies, yo.
But
and
there's
Russian
no
bullies are
bullies
wild.
here though.
What's up?
There's no bullies here though.
What? Excuse me.
There's no
What?
bullies here though.
What?
I think there's no bullies.
What? Have you?
In America.
In what?
If I start a business right here, if I have this, and I start the same juice business across the street, it comes down to me. I can't come over here and burn this shit down and be like, Alex, if you keep
Oh, no.
doing this
Hold
shit,
up,
I'm
hold
gonna
up.
tie you up and you're dead.
Hold up.
That's how it works in other countries.
There are
Hold on.
The
You know,
health
like-
department is the biggest mafia you could ever meet.
Yeah. Talk
They're
about
bullies.
representation, taxation without representation.
You cannot leave become bullies.
Taxation without representation. But no, listen, we can't allow ourselves to be like, well, you know, if we don't have a machete in charge, you know, then they're gonna come in with their machetes and kill us all. And like,
At least not.
that's
But we have that privilege. Every other country don't have that privilege.
We have so
What?
many other systems that are
Yeah,
not
man,
literally
listen.
in the same.
we as a
playing
generation,
field.
we as a
But
generation.
we have developed all of these systems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if we do it out of love, if we do it out of love and not out of fear, which is what we're doing now. We're like, American and Brexit, you know what I'm saying, out of fear. And it's like, if we were doing Brexit out of love, like, yo, you know what? You guys are like real vermins right now. Like, yo, North Korea, I know you guys got no human rights. Yo, China, stop playing games because you guys chew your air. And Russia's dying to kill me, so chill with Russia.
Russia's
You know
not
what I'm
trying
saying?
to kill.
Oh, what? I bet. Lend them your wallet.
They're not trying to
Lend them
kill
your
us.
wallet. See what's up. Lend them your wallet. See what's up. Sleep
just
on it.
feel-
Is there like different shades of privilege? Because it's so easy to get bodied, like
Yes,
waiting
very many different shades of
waiting in a psychiatric like emergency room, and to get raped because they have all these drugs, like to go to a mental hospital, but really you're there because like for no reason though. Like you're really there for no reason. Like they just sent you there, and like it's really easy to get raped and bodied. So like what shades of privilege? Like
There are
There are.
definitely shades of privilege.
And that's
Even
what-
this, like the work we do with incarcerated youth, is a joke compared to like Arkansas.
Yeah, just New York.
Colombia,
Yeah, just New
Colombia,
York.
right? When I was in Bogota, my friends were doing a project in incarceration. Actually, it was great. It was like trans girls who came out in jail. They were like rebels fighting for FARC against the government. A lot of different situations, but the only place they felt free was in jail that they came out, right?
Because these streets are crazy.
So now, all I'm saying is there are different shades of privilege. I work with incarcerated youth. Every day I'm like, bro, you're chilling. You get a uniform,
Food.
you get food, a room. I'm here to help you learn how to write a resume, bro.
There's
You're
cops,
taking art
hospitals.
classes?
You're taking
I'm
art
sorry,
classes
but
in jail. You're the
that doesn't happen
highest
in
level
Colombia.
prisoner.
Exactly. It doesn't happen in Dominican. It doesn't happen nowhere else besides
Nowhere
America.
else.
Like
And
nobody.
this is- okay,
You
so-
can't earn a degree.
But how do you?
Yeah.
The
You might be
question
wrong.
is,
You
though,
can't own a
question
degree in
is,
fucking jail.
How do you
in another
really?
country, bro?
How do you translate that reality? So the difficulty, and one thing I've always said is you can't compare struggle. Although I know El Salvador is 8,000 times worse than America. I'm not going to tell it to a kid who hasn't eaten in 2 days in America, who doesn't have the knowledge to access food. You see what I mean?
And I think
So it's
this goes
very
back-
difficult for us, because you're right. There are different shades of privilege and there's different shades of struggle. And as conscious beings, we need to be aware of all of it,
And
which is difficult.
I feel like
It's
because
very
we're
difficult
allowed.
because it goes back to our conversation last night that you got so annoyed about, and I didn't understand. No, he's telling me he wants to fundraise to pay kids to do art, and I said, no one paid me ever. Like I didn't put it.
Why are we
into
getting
me.
paid to learn?
Why are you getting paid to learn? And why don't you? Are you teaching a skill that way? To me, you're not.
They're immigrants.
It's
Get immigrants.
No,
I
because
think you're
you're right about
teaching
that.
actually a bad habit
Yeah,
that
you're right. You're
money
privileged.
is easy.
Privileged, yeah, and you're
And then
privileged.
you're
Yeah,
privileged,
you're
and then
privileged.
that you're getting money just by showing up and just
Yeah,
like
you're
thinking
deserving.
and
Yeah.
doing this.
But
But not working
He's
hard.
more on healthcare. I'm doing that in a form of healthcare.
Yeah.
Because solving the homeless youth issue is how we're gonna like levels of privilege, right? Homeless youth. Why are they homeless? 98% of the ones I've met are because they got like religious Nazis in their house, you know, kicked them out for their choices.
And they have a mental.
They have mental,
A lot of
economical
homeless people are
limitation.
homeless because they've gone through something traumatic in their life and they chose not to care anymore about themselves or about their surroundings. It's the easiest way form of them to separate themselves from reality. I've talked to a lot of homeless people, and for the most part, that's a lot of the
But even
decisions.
that, like, you take a
Yeah,
young-
it's just
yeah.
people that can't overcome traumatic events.
But
you know.
you take a young kid from Morocco that his parents probably got died, and they'll laugh. They'll laugh at a homeless youth. You're homeless? How?
In America?
Yeah,
they'll
in America,
laugh.
yes.
They'll laugh
When you
at
come
these
to the United
kids.
States
Yeah.
as an immigrant
But that's
kid,
very-
you
But
look
then-
at
but then
Americans
that-
and you're
that's
like,
in-
are
You're
you
not homeless,
serious?
bro.
But time out.
This
That-
country
that's-
is giving you everything you want.
Everything.
And
I
then
don't know, I just don't
I
think
grew
you
up
can
in Civil
pigeonhole
War.
people, though.
I grew up people getting killed right next to me.
Yeah.
And you're crying because what?
Yeah, because
And
your
you have
parents are
food,
religious.
like you
they're
are
not giving life,
overweight
bro. My
and you're
parents got
asking
bombed.
for food.
You're like,
like
this is different reality happening right now.
Continue to
Exactly, exactly.
But that's what I mean. Like
Very
you don't have to
difficult.
learn.
I feel like
You
we
don't
should.
have to
The only
learn.
reason we
Very
compare
difficult.
struggles because this country was built on helping the rest of the world. This country was not built on.
So what they-
my opinion.
So why don't they help the rest of the world now?
Because we're fucking crying about shit.
But how
If-
are we
But
helping?
also, are we feeding
How we
into
helping
a
them?
system
by
that
bringing
is
our
like-
privilege, by bringing our understanding and our freedom of understanding into other countries. People from whatever country you're from,
Oh,
that you're in this
still-
country,
Every
go
building in New York
there.
City has at least
Nah, but
35
look.
Yo, you bring it to China, they'll murk you in China for that, bro.
I'm not Chinese.
No, I'm just saying there's so many buildings in New York City because I'm local 1087. Like I'm a glazier. I help build New York City, and I get to see how many vacant spaces there are in New York City, and it's absurd that there's just that many homeless people in New York City. You understand? And it's all because people don't want to, they want to up the price. Even what they want to do in the Lower East Side, they want to take the Asian people out and build high rises. It's because all they care about is money. They don't care about the low income class, and it's literally a system made to affect.
It's a good argument. Like not only they don't care about poor people, but they want to advance stuff. Even some of the buildings are like very much technologically advanced. So not saying this is right, but like how do you change old mentalities into new mentalities?
We monetize love, yo.
Well, this is
We make love profitable.
Well, I also think, okay,
Exactly.
what he
With
just
the
said
currency and
is
the
very interesting.
separation
'Cause here's also the problem, is that
desensitization.
these conversations
Desensitized, that's what we pray for.
go from, it's kind of what you were saying, and what you're saying is like my personal story, but then when you manifest that with capitalist understanding, it's very difficult. So, because I've had a bunch of these great conversations with dudes who are gentrifying the crap out of everything. Both like realtors who are like, no, I want to sell that building and sell it to only white people. You know what I mean? But also, they can sit in this circle and have a high level spiritual conversation. So my real question is, how can we have these conversations and have them really manifest to people as we're starting businesses, nonprofits here, right? How can we say, yeah, I have a physical space, I do sell $11 juices, but I'm down for the people, and this is why.
I feel like it's not white people.
How does that work?
That's just the way the capitalist system works. I don't think white people are to blame because they gentrify.
I'm not white people. I'm just saying.
What you said, gentrifying, like
Symbols.
there's probably Dominicans that came to this country first, like yo, I opened up a restaurant.
Well, that's the
come
other
to this
layer.
town.
That's the other
Come to
layer.
this town.
Come on.
That's another
The
layer.
first people I know that don't rent to Dominicans are Dominicans.
Yeah, that's so true.
So it's classism.
My own
It's not
people.
racism.
My own people
It's not
murder.
racism.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not a race thing.
So
racism is not
I brought it up, but
No, I'm saying not you only.
It's part of the dividing line.
internal racism. Yo, my white boy friends have helped me out more
We're
than
gonna have to have a
Dominicans.
talk
Because it's classism. It's not racism anymore.
Same thing.
It's classism.
No, it's not.
What
That's
is
racist.
It's racism. You put the blame on a race.
Either way, the question is this. No, what the question I asked was not race or class. The question is, if we're on a higher level, how can we stay at our level but bridge gaps?
Alex, the question you need to ask these people then is, what are they willing to give up?
Exactly.
You have privilege, what are you going to give up?
That's
you're
never
rising
gonna work.
with
Wait.
that.
In humanity's history,
That's
What
that's
are
never
you
gonna
going
work.
to
Jump
give
tell
up
this.
to me
I
to
agree.
make that
Level the playing field.
level that playing
Exactly,
field?
which is what we're doing with our youth.
Can't
Which is what we're doing with our youth.
Empowering,
And
none of that
it has nothing to do with
bullshit. I
race.
have power,
That
but
means the
how
playing
do
field
we
has
make
nothing to do with race, and we have to let that shit go.
I love
Make
this
it
guy.
equal.
Go,
We have to let it go.
I have two comments. So the first one is what is that measuring struggle,
Yes.
and I totally agree with you. At the same time, I think some of the choices that we make in the United States specifically are trying to coat that struggle with things that are not necessarily good for the future. So that's what I'm trying to say, and that's what I'm trying to say to Alex.
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
how are you benefiting your students or whoever you're teaching by giving them money just by showing up? That's not.
Yeah,
That's giving them an option.
Because
True.
in a sense, that's a selfish,
true,
yeah,
but
that's a selfish
at the same
approach.
time, they're just showing up and not.
Yeah,
but
really-
you're
right, because that's
Yeah,
a
but
selfish
that-
Hold
approach.
on.
No,
Hold on.
That same program might cultivate that artist into be a huge artist that he might not
That's a
have.
small
I
majority.
totally agree with you, but I
though.
agree more. Why can we just find them real jobs and show them a real skill that is
When-
going to
Oh,
benefit
real job.
them?
You sound like my mom. That's my mom.
No, I'm
No,
not
but
saying
let her
that
speak,
art.
'cause
I'm
she's
not
got a
saying that
point,
art.
but that was me
I'm not
last
saying
night.
that art
That
is
was
not
me
a real
last night. I was
job.
like-
I'm just saying, just having kids like show up, like
Yeah,
to do
no, that's
this.
selfish.
Yeah,
That's
but
selfish in a
that's-
sense because
You're not teaching them an
Yeah.
100% skill of
Yep.
like okay, this is what you do in
Yep.
a job. This is the other thing, like, and treating them like real workers.
Because you're providing them with what you would have wanted. He's providing them with what he would have wanted. He would have wanted them free.
Well, that's
Yeah,
fine.
you're not helping them. Yeah, you're being selfish.
Paint this wall
You're being
white,
selfish,
we're gonna
yeah.
fix it.
No,
Because
it's not just
he wants to provide the kids.
Also,
He wants to provide the kids with what he didn't have.
No, like,
It's a whole different
No,
mindset.
you're right.
No,
I just think
what Mike
fine
is
is,
saying
but
is true.
fundraising
Yeah.
for that, you shouldn't. I think you should do it if you're getting a paid job. If you found a paid job and someone is paying him $500,
What paid job?
take
What kind of
to
paid
do
job?
to paint this place.
The
Let's
same
say.
thing that their parents did and their grandparents had to
No,
do.
But
really,
if
the
you-
conversation we were having.
Fundraising to pay kids to do art, I don't think
Yeah,
it's
it's bullshit.
It's healthcare.
It's bullshit. No, it's
It's
bullshit.
healthcare.
I love this conversation.
It's bullshit.
Really, what I was talking about?
It's
First of
bullshit.
all, you work for a
Privilege.
company.
No, it's
First
not.
of all,
It's privilege. Yes,
Okay.
it is. It's very much privilege.
Yes,
It's
and I
very
agree
much
with you.
privilege.
Mike, I agree with
Art
you.
is
It is.
privilege.
It is.
It's fucking
It is. But
privilege.
let me finish.
If
then
we
you can go.
re-legislate,
No, you're
Yeah,
not gonna
I
pay
agree.
nobody to go
Mike,
do
here's the
shit that
problem.
people
Here's the
have
problem.
fun with.
Here's the
Like,
problem.
no,
Four
it's
of
not.
us here make our living off that exact mindset. Like
In a
I
sense.
get paid. That's why I run summer youth employment
Yeah.
program. You know, a very easy way. Right? It's at the jail. It was cooking,
Yeah.
cleaning,
Yeah.
and painting this mural.
Yeah.
Why?
Those are baby steps to you changing
Time out.
that though.
No,
You
let me
take
just-
necessary
no,
steps
no,
to
no,
change
no,
that.
no,
Guys,
it's
time out,
no.
time out.
First
of
of
all,
all, it's team
First of all,
building.
I'm not an artist because I'm unemployed. I'm an artist because it is the way to change the current,
But you're not gonna pay
the current
kids to
social
do art.
infrastructure.
You're not gonna pay kids to do art though.
They
That's
have
impossible.
to learn
That's
the
crazy.
skill
Wow.
first.
I think we should
Nothing's
teach
impossible.
the
You're
youth
gonna pay them to clean your toilet,
I
to
think
get
teaching
down.
out of that rat race.
To
clean
get
your
money,
toilet,
and if
right?
they want to use that money to do art,
Show
they
them how
could
to
do
do
that.
everyday
What do you
things,
mean
but
by
you
that?
show them
So-
how to do
Where are your
it.
values?
These are very
Where are
good.
your
We're not showing
values?
them
But they're not gonna be as dedicated to that art if it's that free, bro.
Where are
Only
your
artists that get paid are artists that go through mass struggle.
You're just showing
and
me
shit
what
with
you
all
have.
that.
Struggle, though. You don't know what they
So
did.
paying them for their struggle is a good thing.
No way, dude. No. Listen. Yo, as an artist, bro, yo, I pull boulders out my mouth with my hand, bro. And you're gonna tell me that my job is fun?
No.
Also-
you put what you
also-
say.
but also
You
this
put
is
things
also-
out your mouth
but
because
Mike,
you didn't
Mike.
get nobody to give you money to come to fucking do art. If you had the opportunity,
No,
you
but Mike,
probably
also,
would have been done that.
Nah.
But the key to that is about not what you
This
got, it's about
argument
what you
is
know.
important.
And that's why
I think it's
that's
just
why I was telling you,
creating a
we have to
skill
teach
set
them how to
is
get
what
out of
I'm
that
trying
rat
to
race
argue.
mentality. If it's everybody that builds something to create themselves, they have a platform where everybody knows each other and they don't have to rely on nobody
Yes.
else.
Exactly.
But
I mean, they're relying on
just
themselves.
have
That's
to-
what I did for myself with my art.
Like,
I'm not a
you can show
successful
up for
artist
2
either,
hours,
but
eat,
I
like,
found a way to.
And this is why there's barter system. There's barter system. You could tell a kid, if you do this work, then I could give you this art supply. I can help you get a gallery. I can pay you because you did this. That has
But
nothing
not
to do with your
everybody
art.
has the same hunger as every individual. So that's when you have to. The first thing
Paying them to do art is crazy.
get out of that rat race mentality.
Paying them to do art or to do something that they love is crazy. It's
Forget that
impossible.
it's even art. Would you? Do you think you should
No,
pay
that's not what
someone
I'm
to
saying.
train
I'm
them?
saying that
Sounds like.
It's
Train them
almost
how?
like that's
Teach a
in anything.
skill.
Should
Yeah.
you pay a kid to go to school?
You shouldn't be paid to go.
No.
I feel
Like
like
that's,
schools
I mean,
are
art
College
is art has
make it
transferable
different.
skills.
I think the money that's spent at these
Yeah,
I think that the money that's spent at these schools should be defined. Yeah, but you should not pay anybody to better
But
themselves.
this is the bigger
This
question. Are we
opportunity
teaching
is America, bro.
so they could be successful, or so they can make changes themselves that are going to affect everything around them? That's the biggest question. Because if we're just teaching them how to be successful,
That's what they
then they might just.
You're teaching them how to be capitalists,
Huh?
bro.
Teaching
To be capitalists in a sense. If you're teaching them just to get paid to do what they
when
want,
you teach art and when they're willing to learn that,
I know, but
it
it's like
means that they're able to reason
But
and
a
they're
kid is
able to
ready to learn
design
anything.
and I'm not done, and can and find the infrastructure for their way of thinking. And it isn't that you're paying them to make art, you're paying them because you're teaching this discipline, which is important
That's
to
crazy.
be part of a
Sounds
capitalist
crazy.
world.
That's why I said
Unfortunately, that's where we live. And your
I agree. We're
job,
agreeing.
you show up on time and you do your job. But it so happens that you're going to come into a place where we're going to paint something, we're going to design something, and it's so much about how that actually is manifested and what the goals are of that program. Because he's not talking
It's
about
not
just
painting a
them to
wall.
paint a mural. No, it is to follow a program. It is to follow a goal.
But when you open up
whatever
that employment,
job
you're gonna
is.
have a large majority of employment that's not gonna give
Can I
a
say
fuck
one
about
thing?
what you're doing.
The
Like,
cleaning
somebody get paid.
program is a lot
Somebody get
easier
paid.
than the art program. The art program, they don't want to do, because in the art program, they have to have a full resume. They have to walk up to the head of the jail, give a presentation. The cleaning program is, bro, mop that.
You don't even gotta read a book.
Mop that.
Right.
That's it.
What
So the art program is, here's how you write a resume, here's how you write an individual.
That's an individual.
That's my whole thing. If you get a job, if
The
you get
idea
a,
of vocation
if you get
versus,
a, no, but if you get a job, Alex, and they tell you, you know what, I have this whole space to paint, then your responsibility is to hire kids, your kids. I think that's great. I think you do that. I'm not bothered by any of this. I'm bothered by the fact that fundraising to pay kids when there's so many other, I think, more important issues to fundraise for.
You can pay for a program. You can pay for it.
You get that. If you follow this mentality, you would have no money now for your kids.
Hold on. But you have to understand that you're taking baby steps to change it. So you're not doing this to do it forever.
Answer this.
You're doing this to build off of it.
Yo,
So you
answer
need
this
this to build off of it.
I got one
She's
question.
saying, like, for the long run is not good. So you have to
Teach
just.
them
She's right.
so they can have a job.
This
No, it's
question
like
is the
he
question.
I got you.
He
Hold
needs
up.
to go and find a job
Answer this.
and hire those kids.
So what do the facts
So
say
he has
about
more
what you
responsibility
believe?
himself.
So where is the
And
youth
teach
getting their
them
money
that
from now?
responsibility. If it's just a wall.
But he's an artist, so how is he going to teach them
Huh?
how to do
The
it?
government
If he's an artist.
do nothing.
No, I'm talking about, let's
wait,
say, a paint.
The kids
like
that do have
painting.
money right now,
Like,
where are
he
they
can
getting it
find
from?
that
If
job.
not the streets, the hustle.
I
I
feel
are
like-
free, and then when I get a
Because
kid,
when you
they're
have
ready
this
to rock.
responsibility
The
of
few.
like job, they
That's
have-
because they're
Wait,
not
okay,
small margin on them compared to a large margin.
You're not
I mean,
developing
there's
the
small
skills.
margin on them that hustle their asses off and get noticed and get money from it. It's not like.
Hold on. So you rather have one kid sell crack and come out the hood than 30 making art and get out the hood.
They're not getting out the hood though.
How?
Because out of those 30, you know 20 of those are not gonna give a fuck about the art. They want to get paid, bro. This is America.
You got 10 kids.
No, hold on. So you rather have them go sell drugs instead of selling art?
It's not a fair question.
They're not doing it for the money. They're not doing it for the money.
Guys.
You're not being fair with this question.
Guys, this.
You're making me God.
Just
You're
because you
trying to
disagree,
be like,
No, but this, guys.
Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Because I'm asking about mathematics. Mathematics are always fair.
All right, let it run. All right, first of all, you have Tom, me, Guillermo, Buddha. We literally make our life out of this. And it's totally legit. But for real, you too.
I'm
you
laughing
got
because
$5,000 to do composting. Like,
I'm
great.
laughing because
Hold on. Why'd you get $5,000?
Nah, it's
I
not
hear
me.
you saying
It's not me. I'm
crap
not
in the
shit.
hole.
Yeah,
I gotta work
But
and
here-
learn the
but
Renaissance
here,
master
no.
techniques.
Here, the point is,
I didn't get
Oh,
shit.
no, you
Yeah.
got crap.
No money in my
You got
pocket.
crap in the hole. You
I
got
would like to hear more what
the point
Chief
is,
told
no.
me,
The point is,
because
and I
she's
do want to hear Nick.
articulating more
The point
than
is,
I
this
can.
question is wildly important. The fact that Vanessa will question her husband on some like, yo,
No.
that's funny,
I feel-
is important because that's making me, because she doesn't know that I have to go to the head of ACS. I met with the head of Children's Services in New York and proposed my stuff, right? So, but these questions are important because it tunes us to what it really, and you're right.
Let me make a couple observations. First of all, you made an earlier point. We need to be grateful for what we have. But to be grateful for what we have in no way means that the system doesn't need to be reformed. We can understand that there are enormous benefits to operating within a capitalist system, and yet the capitalist system has ways of leaving a large number of people behind, and also not being able to monetize love very effectively in certain sectors. And in that case, reform means that we can be grateful for the capitalist system, do whatever we can within the capitalist system, and at the same time have to recognize that at some point we need to find ways to give of ourselves, to be generous to those who are trapped in the holes where the capitalist system doesn't work.
Right.
Now, that being said,
That's a tough place to navigate.
it's also true that there's a lot of history that charity, to your point, can often be highly counterproductive.
Yeah.
Africa is the case point where for 100 years they've operated on a charity model rather than an investment model.
Yeah.
And Africa now is worse off than ever before because of the goodwill of people who wanted to do something, but their charity was actually helpful. I mean, for example, Tom's shoes. Everybody's notable, Tom, and all, you know, but it's actually destroying the shoe market in Africa. So it is distorting the investments that people, that could give them an opportunity for long-term survival. So you got two kinds of problems.
It's also
One, be grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah,
The other
sorry.
is to know that there are going to be holes. Now, where there are holes, can there be strategic charity
Thank you.
that is actually helpful to compensate for the
Who
gaps?
was the charities though?
We
That's
don't,
the thing.
also,
have
we
to
don't do
create the
charity, but I respect the word. But
Well, charity is government
charity.
largesse
Because we can't,
that
we
is
pay rent.
operating outside of market forces, which is what's paying for the art in the prison right now. And if Trump has his way and gets too market oriented, he'll kill it. And that will be sad because there are places where the market system doesn't work for certain kinds of people, and we need to actually, as a community, say we need to give people the first step
And be involved in it.
and be involved in the first
Democrats.
step. And so now,
Put the money to shit.
but back to your point, we do need to find ways that teach the recipients of this largesse that actually in the real world, you actually have to work within a system and a reality where you have to show up on time, you have to do the work to a certain kind of
You have to
level.
earn what you get.
And you gotta earn what you get, and you have to work within that system. And so that if you teach them that everything's easy, and everything just comes because
They're
it
gonna
grows
fail.
on trees,
Yeah.
well, that is actually not the way the world works.
It's
So
not teaching us
let's
skill.
recognize that we have both of those things, and there is a dynamic tension within them. And in fact, at the points of the heated conversation that we just had, everybody was actually right.
yeah, that's the problem.
It's just, it
But
is
the
very
point is to work that out in reality in a way that is equitable, fair, and effective is messy. And there will be disagreements. But I think it's fair to say everyone is coming to that conversation with a good heart and with a measure of wisdom, but that sometimes the reality is messy, tense, and takes some measure of prudential, which means I'm guessing as I go, negotiations of how to prioritize what. So I don't know what comes out of the what are the steps of getting someone out of the hood through art from I wouldn't know, but I would trust your
There's-
Give
judgment
them
and
the
Alex's.
opportunity.
There's
Well,
like these people that they inherit oppression and then they add to the oppression and they feed it, because if you are selling drugs or buying drugs,
Right.
which most of that is happening in the hood and in like the gentrified areas, especially in the gentrified areas though.
It's happening all over.
Yeah, so it's like that goes into the whole culture of human trafficking and child trafficking. Like that all connects. So like that demon, which is, there's no such thing as demon, but that whole entity is like basically us behind it, like we're feeding
So
it.
most of these kids, like 50 Cent, know how to hustle. 50 Cent just took his hustle and moved it to the legit world. But that step for people who have operated in the hustle, the entrepreneurial hustle of the underground drug world, is tricky for them to know how to move from there to, you know, to work within the larger system. Because first of all, that step, the biggest barrier is in their head, that they don't feel like they're worthy to move outside that other system. The other thing is that other system is run by people that don't treat them well and are scary to them, and so it's a big gap. I mean, it's a big step for people to move from the drug hustle. I mean, people would sell diapers if they sold like drugs. It doesn't matter
they
what
get
it
paid for by the government.
They've got the hustle thing down. But the fact is to turn that.
But there's also a whole company. I mean, Defy, who you know, and who me and Mike have tried to be. There's a company called Defy, and they work with formerly incarcerated people. They're huge. They have locations in New York and now in California. They're literally like, if you go on their website, their ideology is these young drug dealers are small business owners.
Capitalists. They're capitalists.
And all we have to do is flip that mentality into hustling.
But you know what they do?
You give them something
they make
make
you
them
pay
glad.
to join
How do
it,
you
though.
expand their mind?
They give you money, but they make you pay to join. You have to pay $150 to join them, and then you can make money.
But the only way to teach a kid that he's an entrepreneur for something else besides drugs is to have a product that pushes like drugs.
He can bang.
The thing is, like,
That's the only way I've seen to be like,
the most
here,
powerful
go
thing
do
than
your
money,
salesmanship.
do you know
Here's a
what's
product.
more powerful thing more than money? You know what's more powerful than money?
Welcome to the
This is
future.
reality.
We're about to get popping with that.
Knowledge.
Wait for that.
Knowledge is the most powerful thing. You know why? Because
it depends.
through knowledge,
Everybody has
you can
different
obtain
knowledge.
money easily in many different
Yeah,
forms.
but you can't attain knowledge easily.
Without money now.
You can. You can't
Yeah,
attain that.
but
The thing
Without
is,
money or privilege. Not even money, because this country you get
No,
knowledge
these
without.
kids
we live in a world now where the internet
Think about it.
is.
You have knowledge in this
Yeah,
country.
but
You have
none of the
knowledge.
kids no kid I work with has internet.
I guess what I was trying to say is that
So we
Alex,
provide
you should
that knowledge for
revamp
them.
your
No.
whole, like, what you want to do with this kid.
Can I get an opinion on this?
Because
I feel like
it's
he's
important
taking
for them to learn a skill more than just show up.
he's taking the first steps
Of
to
course,
change it.
they're learning. They're
He's
learning
taking the
5
first
skills.
steps.
They're learning 1, how to take interviews, write proposals, and work in a team. That's one skill.
Yeah, because
They're
you won't
learning
get
how
no
to
money
paint.
without that.
You know, the joke today was I was listening to NPR and they were talking about rehabilitation and they were like, it was like
That's why
plumbing, electrical, and painting. They're like, well, I mean, they could get a vocational job like painting. I was like,
You're getting
What
out
are the
of
five?
them.
Yeah, what are the
You're
five
getting out of
skills
them.
that they're?
5 skills, right?
Uh-huh.
So, one is writing proposals and
Yeah.
being able to even communicate my idea to an adult, which none of them have ever done,
Okay. Number 2.
in a context of a job, right? Not like I'm in school. That's a different thing too. So now you're at a
keep
job.
going. Okay, keep going.
I say that because when I teach in schools, kids don't pull up.
Nope.
When I have a job, they come out. And
Well,
that's
get
something
paid.
I've realized.
Okay.
So that's important for them, right? I don't know why that is, right? So, learning how to write a resume, learning how to do proposals. Team building, working with other people. We have Bloods working with Crips. Not my group, but Lenny's group or one of the groups was like, oh, you shot my boy last year. But we're not going to fight. No, this is very important. We're not going to fight because of this job, right?
Yeah.
So that's teaching them
There's
that
opportunity.
there's manifestations outside of their realm. A lot of it is like, it's healthcare. A lot of it is, in a way, a little bit of a game. But the only way to to break the channels of oppression or the mental slavery that this country brings is to play these little games.
Yeah.
So that's 3, right?
I agree.
Team building. No.
Resume.
Proposal, resume.
Team building.
Paint. No. Well, that's something else.
Let's just blame you.
Fine. Team building 2. Working for an employer. Working. That's on teaching them. Now they're getting paid to do that, but I am teaching them.
Are you acting like the employer though?
Well, now that's different because that's just talking about my
feel
style.
Like fixing the problem.
That's just
you
talking
can't
about
fix
my
the problem
style.
without
That's
this
fine.
approach.
That's fine. We can talk about styles and approaches. That's
you can't
totally
fix the
fine.
problem without this approach.
Hold on, I just want to hear what the other two
Okay.
are. What are the other two?
So the other 2 is literally the skill set of painting.
Okay.
So also in the context of me,
The therapy of painting.
No, not even. No, not even.
doesn't
Not,
matter what
no,
kind
no,
of
no, 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 no.
painting.
No, in the context
That's a
of
good
me and
point. That's a
Vanessa's
good point.
conversation was, I have 5 kids this summer, right? I have 15 kids who I'm paying. I have 5. I don't even have 5. What did I say? 3 or 4?
Doesn't matter now.
3 or 4
Five.
who literally came to me and were like, yo, I want to do art. How? How do I do this?
Okay.
I draw every day. I love this. I don't really work in other situations, so you tell me how I can be an artist.
How do I monetize it?
How do I monetize that? So one is teaching that skill set.
Which
Right?
also teaching team building.
Well,
At the
team
same
building
time.
is all
At
along
the
there.
same time.
And the last one is literally showing someone that there's other channels than working at a Walmart, getting a random job, which, because they teach you, part of society is like, for us, it was go to school, study what you want to do so you get that job. That's not how a lot of people are taught. A lot of people are taught like, here's your parameter, no matter what you do, this is what you're going to do.
Yeah, and don't mess up or you're fired.
But my question is
So,
like, I
so
think all
those
of it is
with all
beautiful.
of those things, in our hopes is that will one change minds, but also change physicality. The one thing they talk about in the hood, get them out of the hood. The first thing to do, those kids who come to my jail, those parents have to move. Every single kid who's in jail, the parents are moving from the Bronx to Brooklyn. Because taking the kid out of that context is so important. But if you take that kid out of that context and you give him no access, then that's trouble.
Okay.
So my thing is
Can I just say, how is it access to just like find a wall and have it? Like, I'm just
So
saying,
the
why
context
not
of our
just
conversation
get
is
real
this.
jobs? That's
The
what
context of
I'm
my
saying.
conversation.
I think-
Wait, can I say one thing?
Artists
I
are the
know
hardest
mom-
working people that
I know,
I
but
know
what I'm trying to say,
ever.
real jobs is like get
Okay,
a job
but
that
he-
you
my
are
thing is
responsible
this.
He's
for.
conditioning them
So when
to
it's
do
hiring
that.
you
He's
to do-
conditioning them to
My
do
thing
that. In
is
the
this.
sense that
Is
the
though,
context-
that
conditioning them
American
to do that.
children are extremely privileged, and that's
I agree
something
with this.
So they're coming
But-
into even the classroom and expecting, well, I showed up, so I should get an A.
The-
You're not giving me an A,
Yeah.
you're a bitch.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So if you go and you say, we're gonna get these art kids and we're gonna fundraise so that they can paint a wall, because that's what it sounded like at first, just to paint a wall.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Then you're
That's
not
what
teaching them
every
skills.
nonprofit
But
You're not
world.
teaching them
he is teaching them
responsibility,
life skills in
and
the sense
is
that
what is
you might have a
important.
kid that show
Teaching
up
them,
one
hold
day.
on a second.
Yeah.
Teaching them to show up on time. Teaching them professionalism. Teaching them how to respond to their employer if there's a conflict. All of those.
But he is
things
teaching
need
them
to
that
be-
in a sense.
But that's what I wanted to make sure.
course
about. That's
I
why
agree.
I said
He is
to the
teaching them
five,
that
I'm
because
like,
you might have a
I'm
kid
okay
that
with
shows
that.
up.
Art is
But
the
if you're
only
just
thing.
fundraising just because we're gonna get you some walls and
Okay.
we're gonna paint them, we're
Yeah,
gonna
he had-
pay you
he had to- he had to be
$500.
specific.
That's not even
He had to be
reality.
specific.
But-
And that
but
is
that-
reality to that
Yeah, but
Also,
American
that doesn't even happen to the real artists.
Also,
But what he's teaching them is
Also,
though,
you
with these young
that
kids,
leads into that privilege.
yeah,
all
with
of
these
my
young kids
kids,
is like,
my kids work at CVS.
yeah, with these
And
young
you know what
kids,
that job's teaching them? Nothing.
No.
It's like, oh, dude, what?
It's
I'm like,
oppressing
yo, what do you
them.
do there?
It's
Like,
oppressing
bro,
them.
I like put stuff on the shelf, bro.
it's suppressing them because you're not allowed to have a bad day.
I got a job.
What he's doing is like, if the kid shows up
It's
for
not
3 days in a
not
row
teaching
and
them
misses the other
nothing.
3
You know what I
days,
mean?
he's not gonna be like,
something.
why didn't you come?
You have to do things
Yeah.
to keep it
So
up.
Any job. No, what I'm saying is, no, I'm not saying it's
And
not teaching.
sometimes,
What I'm saying is,
sometimes you have to take jobs you don't want to take in order to do what
But the
you
reality is,
what
though,
I'm
these
saying
kids
is,
don't want
these
that at all.
kids took that job, and now they're seeing me and going, yo,
I see myself and see him
I
when
want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and that's great. That's great.
Also, you guys all have to realize that, like, the only, like, literally,
Of CVS.
every nonprofit we've ever worked for functions under this model that we're arguing.
Yeah, 'cause
You do have to understand.
the reality is though, you will
Every
not
arts
get help.
group, every single arts group,
You will
any
not
of
get
you
help.
have ever dealt with
Yeah.
are literally like,
You would not
you
get
want
help.
to
if
babysit
you did
kids?
this
Here's
approach.
Matt Brett.
Yeah, you won't
But
get no
not for
funding.
nothing, in the jail, my kids had to put on new clothes,
Alex needs to talk.
walk up and literally give that. It's funny because a cleaning job, you don't have 5 things.
Yeah.
They go, I learned how to mop, and I learned how to show up.
You don't walk out of CBS.
So that's what's so important about art, because art accesses yourself. It's saying, and that's what's important about that kid coming and designing something.
You don't walk out. Yeah, you're right. You don't walk out.
Exactly.
Identity has to be.
You don't
To
understand
break out of capitalism.
What you do with a job like this is you allow kids to make mistakes and you talk to them about the mistakes in the sense that
This
you allow them to come and go.
is the thing. If CBS is so dope, why don't you go work there?
Personality.
Why are you here getting a check teaching me how to go to CBS?
To the task.
That makes no
This is
sense.
right.
So there's
It's
less
not like
of
that.
a person invested.
You're right. No, yeah.
And I gotta go too because I have to drive.
Yeah. No, we all have to go. My point is,
is a
this
great talk.
conversation, this question that both of you are asking, is the most important.